Hey, how's it going everyone? In this video, we're going to take a look at MCOC's December 2020 champ, Spider-Ham. Please don't consider this video a comprehensive guide, but more of a first impression. Dork Lessons does an extraordinary job with the champion deep dives, so keep an eye out for more detailed coverage of Spider-Ham's abilities there. All the examples in this video were recorded using a 565, level 200, 5-star Spider-Ham with suicides. Based on a handful of initial test fights, I'll rate Spider-Ham poor, good, or great across a variety of categories. This evaluation will ultimately influence my decision to open crystals, grind arena, and invest rank up materials into this champion in the future. But where I find value in a champ, you may not. So if you happen to land Spider-Ham for yourself, spend some time to see if the champ is a good fit for your account. Okay, let's take a look at Spider-Ham's practical damage, meaning the average damage output you could expect from Spider-Ham with minimal effort. No crazy ramp up like Hela or Sentry. As you can see, his basic attacks are fairly average, maybe even a little bit on the low side. Most of Spider-Ham's damage comes from his Porker Poppers. These essentially operate like power stings, so when the opponent throws a special, they take direct damage. Spider-Ham applies Porker Poppers with his medium attacks at SP3, and they stack. On paper, I wasn't sure how practical it would be to rely on Porker Poppers as a damage source, but it's surprisingly low effort and quite potent. It's really not that hard to get serious damage with these things. Spider-Ham's SP3 can stack up to 25 based on how many move triggered throughout the fight. For most mid-range fights like Act 6 and AQ, the opponent is done if they throw a special after your SP3, so the damage from Porker Poppers easily offsets Spider-Ham's mediocre basic attack damage. I'd rate Spider-Ham a good for practical damage. There's a little bit of build-up required for his absurd numbers, but if you're just playing him casually, you're still going to do some good damage. Let's talk about durability. It's really weird. Just playing around with Spider-Ham, he actually feels somewhat sturdy. I don't find myself taking excessive damage from blocked hits or parries, and his spider nonsense provides some resistance to both degen and special attack damage. More on this in a moment. But when I put him through the Colossus beatdown test, along with Doom, Wasp, and She-Hulk, he didn't fare so well. I'd rate Spider-Ham a low good for durability. Generally, Spider-Ham does okay with suicides. It seems like you want to use SP3 for most fights, so recoil really isn't an issue. And his overall loss of life is only 1 HP per tick once the bleed falls off. Spider-Ham has a taunt on his SP1, so if you're using him as a counter for all or nothing, recoil may become an issue, but overall, I think he's fine with suicides. A low good. For utility, we already talked about his taunt, and just to say it, I wouldn't rely on taunt as a hard counter for all or nothing, so for me, the taunt is just a nice synergy with his Porker Poppers, but that's about it. Spider-Ham can reliably apply a fair number of debuffs. This makes him a great counter to nodes like Diss Track, and an option for regen champs if you run Despair. As you can see here, he handily takes down Realm of Legends Wolverine. Spider-Ham gains Spider Nonsense when the opponent is above 1 bar of power. For each stack of Spider Nonsense, you take 15% less degen damage, so with 7 or more stacks, you're completely immune. You can even heal from guild power. This sounds really good, right? Well, with everything else that can be going on during a fight, I found it a little tricky to manage Spider Nonsense in a way that would consistently shield me from most of the degen damage. It's a cool ability though. One other thing I want to note. Kabam recently updated the descriptions for various direct damage sources, so you may want to make sure the damage from a source is actually degen damage before using Spider-Ham as a counter. For example, Spider-Ham still takes damage from Bane as it deals direct damage, not degen damage. The same is true for Dismay. I think my favorite piece of utility in Spider-Ham's kit is his evade on command. Just dash back and hold block. I completely overlooked this ability in early gameplay, but I think it could be quite useful in certain situations. If evade triggers on a multi-hit special, you can recover quick enough to block after the evade. That's not bad. The only drawback is the long cooldown, I think is somewhere around 12 seconds. And honestly, Spider-Ham shines on Stung Once, Twice Shy nodes. He gets a good for utility. Probably the biggest takeaway from my initial playtest is how well Gaban captured Spider-Ham's personality in the game. He's a blast to play. The illustration style, animations, Easter eggs, they're all on point. This is an easy, great for feel. In my humble opinion, Spider-Ham is such a cool addition to Marvel Contest of Champions. His appearance is unique, his abilities are unique, and he's just fun to play. With that said, for me personally, I don't see myself using him when the fight really matters. For things like AQ, AW, and Act content, it's likely I'll stick to my current options. He may be interesting for Everest content though. I'll have to give him a try in Abyss. I haven't done that yet. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.